All right.
Are you viewable in this?
I sit like that, I will be.
Paul, maybe you should go that way more.
No, you were fine, actually.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're the New England Center for the Advancement of Paranormal Science, A.K.A. Para Boston. People with us here now are Paul, Mike, Bart, I'm Mike Baker, this is Laura, and we have Joe. And we're just going to go through a little bit of what we do in forms of research. And we're not very traditional in our research as terms of what equipment is used. A lot of other groups have different equipment than we do, and we'll talk about that in a second. But our approach to things is to find things that are, to think outside the box. And we build a lot of our own equipment. This equipment here, like for example, this is an infrasound detection system. This is a large, basically a Tesla coil, secondary coil that we use to measure for electromagnetic spectrum analysis. We working on automation systems for investigating, like this is a robot that we built in order to investigate without any person in the room. It has a variety of sensors and emails us the results and all sorts of things. So this is the technology approach that we go for. And basically, the way we look at things is very scientific. We don't use psychics or sensitives from that matter, because we're trying to find answers and we're trying to see if we can make things demonstrable and replicate results. Let's see. What do you think is our strengths in the group as far as what we do?
Well, I think that the group's goal of eliminating things, what we do is we try to eliminate things that can cause people to have sensations. And we've looked at things in the environment, things from the electromagnetic spectrum, the whole field. And, you know, and we rule things out. And we look at, and we keep looking for things, and we keep looking for patterns, and we try to be scientific in how we look at it and the way that we record our information, and we keep looking for these patterns. And as we find a pattern, we can either eliminate it or say, we need to keep looking at this.
Right. And, Mike, what do you think is the problem? As far as the way we approach things with this type of equipment, do you think that's a big strength? What do you think the strength is, like compared to the way other people do it?
I think it's a strong strength in what other people are doing out there with the basic tools like EMF recorders, EVP recorders, stuff like that. But our equipment's so much more advanced, and like Bud said, we try to go over more stuff that we find.
Right. Yeah, we're more stringent.
More stringent, yes.
And I know, Laura, you were just saying that we do have some of the other equipment, but
Yeah.
why don't we use it? Why do you think we don't use it?
Well, I don't think that we've ever caught anything on K2 or with EMF other than false positives.
That's
So-
right, yeah. You know, I know, Joe, you experiment a lot with the equipment that's popular out there. You get them all to look at them.
I test everything just to see what actually has validity for what our group's purpose is. And if it seems hokey or gimmicky, then that's not something that we would even think of bringing to the table.
Right, yeah, that's just it. A lot of the stuff that's out there today is based on impressions or opinions of things, or something that if there's something that's very little understood in a piece of technology, it's often, those are the places where paranormal claims come up. If it's something is not understood, it usually transforms into something paranormal. So we want things that are demonstrable, that are recordable. We've published studies on some of the things that we do, and we look for peer review, etc. What is your opinion on the science of it? What do you like most about it, the idea of it?
Well, one of the things I like is the approach that the group uses. Not only do we have equipment that we actually attempt to either validate or invalidate what's being reported, but we'll also look beyond that, and that might be when we go to a location, we'll look for things such as, are there high tension wires nearby? Are there radio antennas nearby? If we go to a property, we'll take a look at things like, how current is the house wiring? Is it very old? Is it very young? We'll also look at some of the other environmental factors such as, if they have a heating system, we'll check and make sure that if, say, it's a family or whatever reporting some type of activity, we'll check and we'll check for carbon monoxide. We'll do a lot of other things to try to eliminate what might be possible causes, so that what we can do is, we'll try to focus in on what might be the cause by eliminating what is the cause.
And that, you bring up a good point. The psychology of things are very important in what we do, because we're not necessarily looking for ghosts. We're looking for the truth of the particular situation, and trying to eliminate all the natural causes. And whatever we end up with is the things that we want to study and try to repeat to understand better. So, like you said, we go into a home and we look at everything they do, from what they eat and drink to what they watch on
Television shows, what type of books are out.
Yeah.
Medications.
Medications is another one. If
Whether they're fighting at home and there's arguments, stress, those
Sure.
types of things, because they all play a role in what they perceive. And and it's all part of stripping apart all of the natural causes to leave us with that tiny little bit that we get so rarely. What type of evidence, Bart, do you think is the best type of evidence for us?
Our best evidence has come through in audio recordings, but not necessarily just audio, it's through the electromagnetic fields. We have two real good quality recordings that came through in the electromagnetic field that a person can't hear, but it appears in our recordings, and with these bigger microphones, which, a typical microphone's got this much winding and coil, and that's got this much. It's powerful, it draws it in, and it's stuff that you just you cannot point to what it was. I mean, we look for reasons why these recordings come in, and you can't put your finger on it. You cannot say it's the power lines, you can't say it's the Wi-Fi, you can't say there's a cell tower. We were out in the middle of a field.
Right.
And we were so far from the power lines, but there was no power there at all. And we recorded, I don't know, about 20 seconds of what sounded to be like an Indian drum on this piece of equipment right here. And it leaves us shaking our heads, and that's what we're looking for. We want to shake our heads and go, wow.
What I like about it is it has no diaphragm, so it doesn't pick up our voices while we're doing the recordings. It picks up the EMF.
Exactly.
And
It's those unusual discoveries that cause us to make even more crazy looking things to try to figure out certain ways of doing it. I mean, we have online databases that we record our information into, and we do the best we can to do a lot of
I
research.
mean, I know of no other team that uses spectrum analyzer to review evidence
Me
with.
too, I don't know any other one that.
Do you know of any other team that uses this?
No, I don't. Well, not a paranormal team. I know geology teams that use things like that, and
But beyond that, you've done phonetic analysis of people's supposed EVPs that they picked up on a recorder, and we have looked at it and found that by looking at the analysis of the speech, that it's not even words, that it's a
Right, yeah.
misconception.
That's the reason for it. Yeah.
So many people are hearing what they think is get out, but it's not get out, it's a zipper, or
Right.
it's a piece of their clothing
That's right,
or
sure.
something. But by running it through the analysis, we're coming up with a definitive way of saying, no, that is not a voice.
That's right. And the interesting thing is that even though we strip away all these things, these normal causes, we still have evidence that we cannot explain. So that really still supports the idea that there still is something out there to discover.
That's what gets us back out up in the field.
That's why we keep doing it.
Definitely.
What do you think's the most haunted place we've been, or active place, I'm gonna say?
It's gotta be the Wayside Inn in Sudbury, Mass.
I would agree.
yeah, I would agree too.
We've got a lot of activity there.
Years worth of different trips and different pieces of evidence.
And we get contacted from people all over the country asking us questions to validate photos and audio, and asking questions on investigation techniques. I mean, we're doing things in this group that nobody else is. And I think, if you look at, I know that there's other groups up there that have equipment on their table while they're talking too, and I guarantee you're not going to see any of this stuff on their table. I guarantee it.
And there's a reason.
There's a reason
There's a
for
reason.
it,
But I
yeah.
can also guarantee you that they don't understand the equipment that is laying on their table. They
Exactly.
don't know how it
That's
works.
another aspect of it too. They see it on television or they read about it on a website, and they go out and they buy it and they try to use it, and they don't understand the concept. And you know, the spirit boxes and the obelisks and all these other things that are out there today, like I said, they take advantage of that part of science that is not quite understood by them. And so if they don't understand it, they feel that it has the opportunity to present a paranormal being within it. And so those devices sell, but they do not work. And the stuff that we have does work, and it's repeatable. And that's what makes us a good group, a strong group.
One thing I'd also like to add to this is very often when you watch television shows, there's a lot of dramatization. For example, you'll see a lot of night vision being used. A lot of the shows, they do their investigations in the evening or they do it late at night. Because of the fact that paranormal phenomena could occur at any time of the day, we also will do investigation during the daytime as well. Because if something's going to happen, it's not going to matter whether it's daylight or nighttime. You know, we're either going to get results or we're not going to get results. And that kind of shows that, you know, what we're trying to do is something that's more realistic and also provide a type of investigation that you're not likely going to find on television.
Yeah, there's no need to go lights out in an investigation,
No.
other than you're gonna hurt yourself.
The
Exactly,
experiences
safety reasons.
are had in lit conditions, usually while sitting watching television or doing normal things around the house. So that's the time that you're supposed to, you'll find it. And
Your drum sound came at what, 4 o'clock in the
4
afternoon?
o'clock in the afternoon in a sunny, bright, clear day in the middle of a cornfield. So it just goes to show if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You don't need to turn out the lights.
A cornfield that we later found out used to be owned and lived on by Indians.
That's right, exactly.
Exactly.
So those.
Well, that was another thing I was just going to add to this too, is the fact that when we do an investigation, we actually look at the whole package. You know, we'll interview people, we'll actually look up historical records, we'll look for past reports of similar type events. And basically the idea is to find out if something is actually happening on a regular basis or not. And that also helps to you know, provide a little more background information. It also helps to validate as well. If something's repeatable, that adds a little more seriousness to what's actually taking place. And that's another big thing for this group as well.
We also look at geological correlations. You know, that was one of the things.
Right.
What's in the area? What is the rock bed formation like? What's the gamma radiation like? What's the distance to water sources or energy sources? Things like that to find patterns and see what we can attribute to, you know, predictability. We've seen that there are some patterns that have emerged, you know, between UFOs and fault lines and claims of paranormal activity. I mean, it's unusual, and I don't know the reason why, but the pattern is there. And
Proximity to radio.
proximity, yeah, radio towers, unusual thing. The closer you are to radio towers, the less activity claimed. The further away, the more. I mean, so the question is it killing the activity, or what is it do? These are the types of questions that we're making all these crazy things and doing all this research to try to understand. And hopefully one day we'll have a breakthrough where we can repeat it. And then mainstream science will take over and there'll be a lot of research done.
Another thing I like with the group, with the spectrum analysis and stuff like that, is you've done a lot of research and finding out what different things in the environment come up on, like on your analysis, you know, like what hertz range, like a human voice is, or what a television or a refrigerator gives off.
Right.
So we can know with the correlation, with what, if we go in someone's house, we can get the readings and we can match up different things.
That's right. Yeah. Everything in our environment has a signature.
Right.
And once we understand those signatures, we can pull them out of the evidence that we capture and analyze what's left over.
Something else I just want to add too regarding analyzing sounds. We do use a variety of tools that allow us to tease out if there is a recording of a human voice. The tools allow us to at least kind of estimate perhaps the age or the gender or even the region. So if we hear a voice that doesn't sound quite modern, you know, we were able to determine based on taking the sound apart, determine whether it's someone from Europe someone from England, or for instance, and things like that. And that's another big plus. So we're not looking at just at what we're hearing, but we're actually trying to figure out the origins of what we're actually hearing, and perhaps identify, what kind of person would have made this sound.
A lot different than taking the footage and putting it on an Audacity and tweaking it and actually distorting what you're
Right,
hearing.
what
yeah,
you're
we
hearing,
don't
right.
distort anything that we capture. If we can't hear it or plain, we don't do
Yeah, we don't do any altering.
any
No,
altering.
any-
Our evidence is,
And
stands for itself.
I wouldn't use Audacity to analyze anything. We typically use Adobe Audition, so we use
Various,
good quality
Pratt.
Pratt.
Pratt as
Pratt,
well.
yeah.
Right.
So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed our little blurb about ourselves, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.